Yo.
What's up, Doug?
What's up? I'm fucking excited.
Me too. This is gangster.
This album right here, I can't wait for the world to hear it, man.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Logic here with Hardknocktv. I'm about to sit down with my boy Nick Huff to discuss my third studio album, Everybody.
Black Spiderman.
Yes.
This is, there's a lot of ones on this album, but this is definitely one of the ones. Walk me through what inspired you to even come up with the idea of Black Spiderman as a song.
I think that this song probably embodies the whole album the most because it's the song that it's about like diversity and being yourself, but me rapping from so many different perspectives, rapping from myself, rapping from the perspective of a gay man, of a single mother, of just all these, just whatever, just be you, be happy, be proud. It just kind of hit me one day. It's really weird. It just kind of happened. I've been feeling so down. I think they should know now. And I actually had the verse written for a while. I don't want to be black. I don't want to be white. I just want to be a man today. I had that, but I added the other stuff like, I ain't here to pick and choose. I'm just here to spread the news. And then I ain't just saying to be black. I ain't just saying to be white. I ain't just saying to be black. I ain't just saying to my beautiful Mexican wife, as a matter of fact. That's my whole shit. It's probably my favorite verse on the whole album. And it's just one long verse. And that's what I thought too to myself. I was like, is it too long? I think it's like 32 bars.
Yep.
But I was like, nah, man, it's a vibe. It's a feeling. It's awesome. And it just felt right, And I love the I'm just as white as that Mona Lisa. I'm just as black as my cousin Keisha. I'm biracial, so biracial. That shit to me is so crazy. Praise Black Jesus, not call the preacher. Maybe Jesus was black. Maybe Jesus had dread. Spider-Man should be black. I vote for Glover instead. Love that line. I was talking to Killer Mike, and Killer Mike, who doesn't believe in Jesus or God, or he's like an open atheist, which is fine. He was like, why do you say Jesus? Why do you say maybe Jesus was black? And he was like saying this whole thing. I thought because of what I've been, and this is just me being honest and learning as a man. I always thought that Jesus was Middle Eastern looking. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then he was like, well, actually, and went on this whole thing to express how the Nile, and it would have been African, so he would have looked more, he'd have been more black, and this whole thing. And that's where it's really he schooled the shit out of me, and I was like, God damn. He's like, but I know exactly what you're saying. He was like, I still one, I disagree with you thinking that Jesus was Middle Eastern looking, and two, I disagree that Jesus even fucking existed. You know what I mean? He was like, but I understand what you're saying. Right. And I think Killer Mike was like, my son loves you. He was like, my son loves you. I think that's a big reason why he probably even fucked with me on this album and you know what I mean? And I think Killer Mike is an example of parents who may not agree with something. So here's somebody, this is why I think as long as you're open-minded and respectful as a human being, you're just a good person, I think you fuck with Logic. Because I'm not here to say that your religion is right or wrong or this or that or that. I'm here to say that, hey, I don't know, maybe God isn't some dude sitting on a cloud. Maybe God is a she. Maybe this, maybe that, whatever. And somebody could be like, blasphemy, you're going to hell, whatever. This isn't for them. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the person that goes, I respectfully disagree. I have my faith and I believe what I believe. But I see what you're saying. And that's why I want my son or my daughter to listen to you. I understand that when you say maybe Jesus is black or this or that, I personally believe that Jesus was white or whatever or Israeli or had lighter skin or whatever. I don't know. But I understand what you mean, and at the end of the day, you're just preaching about love and peace and positivity, and because of that, we back you, and we just happen to just disagree on a bit of the formalities of things, you know what I mean? And so that's what the whole song is essentially about. Right. It's like, if you don't believe in what I believe, or you don't this, or you don't that, or don't kill me and stone me, or don't hurt this person, or hate them because, you believe these men shouldn't be together, or women, or men and women, or it's this or that, or da-da-da, whatever the case. It's like, look, man, just stop hating, shut the fuck up. I'm going to be me, and I'm going to be proud to be me, whatever that might be. And that's who I'm kind of rapping from the perspective of everyone. James Bond could be gay, fuck it, why not? It's breaking that stereotype. Why can't Spider-Man be black? Why is that so weird for you to think about? And I always say this, it's the truth. When I think of Spider-Man, I think of a nerdy white kid from New York City. That's how Stan Lee made him, you know what I mean? That's how he was made. Cool. But to say that he could not in some other form be a young black nerdy, same kind of thing, just black. Right. Why is that so weird for you? It shouldn't be weird for you. So when I say Black Jesus, what did he say? Black Jesus? Whoa, what? We got all these white Jesuses. Why is it such an issue for me to just say maybe Jesus was black? Maybe Jesus had dreads, because you don't like that? I guess what I'm just simply saying, though, at the end of all of this is like, man, just chill. Just be happy to be who you are. Be proud to be who you are. Scream it from the mountaintops. And all the bystanders, say whatever you want to say. I agree with that. I don't agree with that. But don't bash somebody's skull over for it. Don't kill somebody. Don't hurt somebody. You know, don't even say hurtful things. You don't need to do that, man. Just keep your opinion. Have your own opinion. Let this person have theirs. So I think it's about definitely breaking the stereotype, fighting for what you believe in, and fighting for who you are. That's why I love the line when I'm like, say black is beautiful, be black and proud, be black and proud. And I almost cut this from the album. Fuck everybody hating on me right now. I'm black and proud. And when I wrote that line, I meant it. And I was like, but it was a mumble. It was a mumble. So like mumbles is where like I'll go in and I'll like say black is beautiful, and I like did it. Say be black and proud. And I was like, fuck everybody hating on me right now. I'm black and proud. So I did the mumble where I had to then go in and re-record everything. And when I went in to re-record everything in my mind, I was like, I was always going to change that last line. But why? Because society made me feel like I can't say that I'm black and proud, or that I'm not black and proud, or that I'm not this. And so there was that like deep down, like, you can't say that, Bobby, don't say that. You're gonna piss people off. And then I was like, no, fuck that, I am black and proud. And that's why I love to say, I ain't ashamed to be white. Like, why would you be ashamed to be white? Like, why would you be ashamed to be black or brown or yellow? You know what I mean? You might be ashamed of like, what some of the people with your shade of skin did to some other people, you know, or anything. Like, yeah, for sure, like that's fucked up, but like that ain't me, that's not who I am. And it's like, yeah, yo, this is beautiful, you are beautiful, my black brothers and sisters, literally, and yeah, and the term is beautiful. You know why? Because this is skin. This is skin, and this is human, and this is flesh, and that is beautiful. You know what I mean? And the culture behind that is beautiful. But the race war, black versus white, and all this shit, that's not beautiful, and that's not what I'm talking about.
I mean, we talked about this before with Donald Glover. I mean, the first time I interviewed him, he had started to receive a bunch of backlash because he was like, well, what about me from Spider-Man?
Yeah, yeah.
And then a lot of the comic world and like people in general were like, what? Like, you can't play Spider-Man. Spider-Man is white. If you think about the character, it's like, why couldn't it be a nerdy black kid living with his grandma in New
Same
York?
shit. Why is that so weird? You know, it shouldn't be weird. I think if anything, it like educates our children to accept other cultures and make it be like, oh, wow. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think it's amazing. But that's why I love, because now, forever, at least for me, Damian Lamar Hudson is Black Spider-Man. Like, he's played that, like, he plays this role, you know? And I think we talked about him a bit already, but that I'd known him for years and years and years, and we always thought we were going to work together, and we finally did, man. And he came out here, man, he went in the booth, and he laid everything that you hear in one take. And the funny thing is, we were joking, because he was, like, singing. He was like, yeah! Like, out here, like, oh, because he's very just, like, Afrocentric and, like, soulful and all this shit. And so I was joking around, and I was like, let your soul glow, like Coming to America. And so when you hear me, I actually went back in the booth. This is shit nobody knows. I went back in the booth, and I was like, this is for the soul. So you can hear me singing that in the background. I'm like, I've been feeling the soul down. I'm like, this is for the soul. And it goes into this, and then he comes in and he goes, gonna let your soul glow. Let your soul glow. But it's not like soul glow. It's like literally like let your soul radiate who you are, because that's what Black Spider-Man is about. That's what the whole album is about, right? It's about a soul, one spirit lived and all this. So the fact that it was just let your soul glow, let your soul glow, and then he's just doing the runs, oh, and this and that and that, and then he just hits the Black Spider-Man, can you save a brother man? Black, and then so he only did it one time, but I repeated it and dropped the drums for like effect, and then he goes, Black Spider-Man, can you save a brother now? And then it goes, and then it drops, and then he's singing, and it's just like crazy, like it's perfect. And he was like, my whole life was leading to that moment, and I'm like, it probably was, motherfucker, because this is all, it's gonna change it. Everybody who's involved is gonna change shit, you know. And so this is really gonna like spark his own career, and it's just gonna be really incredible. I'm gonna bring this motherfucker on tour whenever that happens, you know, and like it's gonna be really amazing. The vibe was like gospel kind of, you know what I mean? It was like, and I was a little worried when I did this, and this is actually a good thing to talk about, because I had this song I had this vibe. So this vibe stemmed from Hallelujah, which is on the intro, and that's almost like a vibe. You know what I mean? And so I remember when Kanye came out with Life of Pablo, and I was like, oh fuck, it's a little religious-y, churchy kind of sound, and I was like, oh, I hope people aren't gonna really trip too much. But I'm really at a point, and then, you know, Chance dropped his shit. So when I listen to this, it's like, it's kind of like, but it's so different. It's extremely different. It's just musical, you know? And I think that's where we are. You have Kanye, you have Chance, you have artists like myself that like make musical ass songs. And this is one of those songs that's just really beautiful and musical, and it was kind of laid out and done before all that other shit was going on.
Right. And anytime you have those kind of choirs, you know, it's going to give it also.
Or whatever. But I mean, that's the only thing that is a little annoying sometimes when you make music and you have something that's you've had forever.
Yeah.
And then something else comes out, and then somebody can be like, oh, you trying to sound like this, you trying to sound... No, it's just a real thing. It happens, and it's like, oh, well, that's annoying. It's not a big deal. Yeah. But it's just like, no, not really. And then, you know, because sometimes I'll want to put some shit out because I know it's so ahead of the curve. And this is like an example of that, and like Hallelujah is an example of like, oh shit, I know I got it, and then Kanye or somebody drops, and it's like, oh fuck. But it doesn't really matter. If anything, it's just like, man, great minds really do think alike. Like incorporating that sound of like church and this. But I mean, Gambino did the same thing, right, with the choir.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just where music is. It's where sonics are, and it's really cool. I think for real artists, it's where the music is. You know, grand, big piano, happiness, chanting. It's really dope.
In your liner notes for Black Spiderman, you talk about the song's a celebration of unity in a world built upon division. People say things like, I don't see color, I just see people. To which I retort, you should see color. You should see a black man, a white woman, a brown little girl, or any other color of the rainbow. Tell me why that's important.
Now, some people can have different opinions. Everybody just has an opinion. The good thing here is remembering what my message and what I'm trying to say is. So people could be like, well, you know, and it's like, no. All I'm simply saying is like, that brown little boy who's looking for himself on TV should look in the mirror and know that he's beautiful, and that he is brown or black or white or yellow or red or this or whatever colors, beautiful colors, and that there is a legacy and there is a whole history and story of where that person comes from. And they should be proud of that. You know what I mean? They aren't just a man or just a woman. You know, they are an African woman, you know, or a Mexican man, or, you know, an Irish little boy. Like it really is something. It's something to be proud of. You know what I mean? And it's like where you're from. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I love the Lakers, or I love the Wizards, or I love, like, that's where you're from. And for me, I feel like those things make us different, and different is good because different is beautiful, but different shouldn't separate us. And that's all I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that you should be happy to be you and be who you are and where you come from. And unfortunately it does. Those things do separate us, and I'm just kind of waving the flag to say it should not separate us. I think we may have talked about this before. I feel like we definitely maybe on the Black or the Bobby Tarantino shit, but there's this Family Guy skit about, it's like, I don't know exactly what it is, I'll probably fuck it up, but like this Palestinian and this Israeli or whatever, I don't know, I forget, but somebody, whoever, I've got a lot on my mind, but whoever's, it's like these different people, different from different places, and it's like Bethlehem time, like back in the day, like Jesus time, and they're talking, and they're like, oh man, too bad I couldn't have you over. But it's funny because they're talking like regular, like white dudes. Like, oh, so sorry I couldn't have you over, you know, to Becky's. She had such a great dinner, and it was great. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. He's like, oh, I heard you just had a child. He's like, oh yeah, I did. It's so good. Da-da-da. He's like, man, we're such good friends. Everything's great. And he's like, yeah, I love you, man. He's like, man, you're so cool. We have so much in common. It's really incredible. And then some third guy jumps in and goes, hey, did you guys hear about the magic baby that was born in a manger that's going to be everyone's savior? It's going to be incredible. All right. And he like leaves. And then the one guy goes, oh my God, that sounds amazing. And the other guy goes, no, that goes against everything I believe in. And he goes, well, I like it. And he goes, I don't. Then they start stabbing each other to death with their swords. Wow. And then they die. And it's really funny, but it's fucked up because it's like, here are two guys who totally got along. Everything was great. Totally fine. Everything is great. And then the funny, just like, the magic baby that was born. And this whole thing is like, I don't believe that. And it's like, man, well, okay. You don't got to believe it, and he don't got to believe you, and y'all don't got to believe this, man. But like, really, like, you got to, for real? Like, it's like that where you're going to kill one another. This person that essentially you do or could or would, but you wouldn't even realize love and know and connect with and all this simply because you're not fucking with what they believe in, or, you know, or because they go to bed at 7 o'clock. Like there's sects of even Christianity where it's like you go to, no, we celebrate Saturday, not Sunday. And if you go Sunday, you're going to hell. You know what I mean? In a sense, I'm just saying, like, you know, and to me, that is like, it sucks, you know? And there's a lot of people who believe all that, a lot, and think what I'm telling you, like, oh, well, I believe this, I respect this, but, you know, it's okay. Let's go grab a beer, or not, because I don't drink, but you do, so I'll have an iced tea. You know what I mean? Right. It's and so that's kind of what I talk about there. But one thing, just to kind of skip a little bit and talk about the outro that I love. So halftime switch up at the end, kind of trill, inspired by Kid Cudi, Day and Night, because at the very end of the Day and Night, it's like dun 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 dun, and then it goes dun 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 dun, and then he's like Kid Cudi, him and Dr. Genius, and I always thought that was so cool, and I've been waiting to do that since I heard that, and so that came out in what, 2009? So I've been listening to that, like, man, I can't wait to like do something really cool like that on my own shit, and it just never fit, and then finally, you know, damn near 10 years later. I finally found a place to do that. And then one thing that I thought was really awesome that I wanted to do, and it was very last minute, is the little skit at the end. And so I just thought about the whole album, how serious the album is, how serious the subject matter is, because even though I ain't ashamed to be white, I ain't ashamed to be black, like, let's talk about it. I'm not ashamed to be white. I'm not ashamed to be black. I'm not ashamed of my Mexican wife. These are very serious things. When I say it like that, it lets you know, like, holy shit, this is serious. But when you infuse it with drums and energy, it makes it happy, but I'm still saying really serious shit. So even though this was, to me, probably the happiest moment, this is the pinnacle moment of the album before the last and final scene in the Tarantino
it's a climax,
movie. You know
for
what I mean? Yes, the climax is like, let's keep it a little lighthearted, especially before we go into what's going to end everything. And that's when I was like, hey, man. And in my mind, I saw it as like kids. You ever seen the movie Kids? Mm-hmm. So I saw it as like these teenagers kind of like smoking weed. And it's me and Dylan. And Dylan's actually in there, Sir Dylan, who plays on all my shit. And he's in there like lighting the blunt. And I had like never let anybody smoke in here except Killer Mike, but it was before even Killer Mike did. So just to get the effect, so you actually hear him really hitting the weed. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, man. But we changed our voices to make it sound kind of like kids. And he's like, what's up, bro? He's like, oh, man, Spider-Man should be black. And he's like, fuck yeah, Spider-Man should be black, you know? Because this is like this idea, you know? Mm-hmm. And then he's like, yeah. And I had heard this in my mind. I was like, let's just do it. Black Spider-Man, Black Superman, Black Santa Claus. Because why not? Fuck it. But there's like a idea, some shit like you're smoking, like, hey, man, it's Black Santa Claus, man. And then he goes, Black Seinfeld. And I just love that because it's like so funny because it's like, what? Like, that's like your boy just said the most dumb shit in the world. It's like, Black Seinfeld? Motherfucker, that's Martin. You know what I mean? Like, in a just almost to say, we already got Black Seinfeld, motherfucker's Martin, or it's Chappelle, or it's whatever. Yeah. But it's just a joke to kind of say, like, I just think it's so funny because it like kind of almost brings everything together in a sense, like saying, here's this very successful guy, like, why don't we have a black successful guy? And then his friend's like, we do, you dumbass. You know, we have many of them. And he's like, oh shit, you're right. Like, that's fucking high. Damn. And it's just funny. Yeah. It's not serious. It's not meant to be taken any type of way. So I just felt like after everything you heard and the seriousness of the content in Black Spider-Man, it kind of ends with like these two lighthearted kids. Right.